Chafing Armor Podcast, Episode 51, The Man from Uncle. Welcome back to the Chafing Armor Podcast. I'm your host, an extremely sore Dungeon Master, because I ran a half marathon this morning, Michael Corley. And with me today in a special solo episode is Izzy. Izzy, tell everyone who you will be playing.
I am playing Morezimu Gra, a half-orc barbarian whose mother is a full-blooded orc, father is a human, and half-brother also a full-blooded orc.
That is true, and a very relevant backstory we may get into in just a little bit. When we last left off with your character, you were not there because you, in real life, had your wisdom teeth out, which makes it kind of hard to talk.
Honestly, I probably could have recorded that day. I just didn't want to.
Well, you also were hopped up on goofballs, so it's quite all right. But your character decided to help a young lad who you had taken on as sort of almost a pet by the name of Kiris, a straw-headed lad who seems there's a little bit more to him than seems. And you perhaps felt a little bad because you did knock him unconscious when you were heading... Yes, super unconscious when you were heading to the Bainwright Manor. Now, in the episode that you were not in, your character, Morezi, agreed to go off and help him. He said that something else was going on in the Bainwright Manor and he needed help. And your character agreed to go and help him. I did not think that you would find that exceptional.
Is that why I wasn't there?
Yes, that is exactly why you were not there. My convenient excuse to get you out so that we didn't have to puppet your character and get you murdered while you weren't there.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been great. Yeah, I think Morezi is doing this very reluctantly, but I feel like she's got a good feeling in, gold-wise about this.
Well, one thing that is for certain is Bainwright Manor is filled with people with lots and lots of gold, and you know at the very least it has one secret lair that had all kinds of crazy stuff in it. There's no telling what else could be going on there. But Kiris, as y'all are walking down the street, turns to you and he goes, I've got to stop real quick because we're going to need a shovel.
I've got a shovel. I didn't give away the shovel, did I?
No, you've got it on your back. You have sworn that you will murder someone with it someday.
Yes, I will.
And he sees you present it to him, and he is very excited, and he goes, "Oh my goodness, thank you so much!" And he leans in, and the lightning flashes in the background, and he goes, "We've got to dig up my uncle." Flash, 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 flash. Cut to the Frackrill Cemetery. And in the Frackrill Cemetery, you see a wide expanse of a lonely hill where there are multiple graves of many descriptions, all sizes and shapes. And a dark mist is beginning to rise over these graves. And he turns to you and he says, I'm technically an orphan. My Uncle Archie, he sort of adopted me, and I've just called him Uncle Archie all this time. Do you have any family?
I have a mother and a brother. I've never met my father, though, and I don't want to talk about that.
And let us cut back to the plains. The plains in Beltrain. The plains where you did much of your training and where you are receiving a fierce beating from other orcs. A group of older orcs have surrounded you and identified you as weaker, and that is the most terrible thing for an orc to be. And they are just pounding their fists into you, when suddenly, from above, a shadow descends, and there is a croom, a landing. They all scatter, and they see the ragged leather armor and just these patches of hastily sewn on chainmail of your brother Nargash of the clan Mugra. And he turns and looks at all of them, and he says, "Who dares attack her so? And they turn to them and say, she is weak. And he says, the only weakness is your daring to attack her in a group instead of facing her with honor. Who dares face her? And he turns around one by one, and finally this large orc, slightly even larger than your brother, but younger than him, turns, and his name is Beans. And Beans turns to you and says, I face you. Fight me, half-blood. And I want you to roll for initiative.
Yes, I will, Father. That's a flat-out 6.
That's what he got as well. What is your dexterity bonus?
Let's see. 2.
You actually beat him. He has a +1 to his dexterity, so you get to act first. What are you going to do?
Is this pre or post halberd proficiency?
I will say you can have your halberd if you wish.
I believe that this is Morezi not perfect at the halberd, but she has picked it up from the corpse of one of her combatants thus far. So I am going to roll to attack with my halberd. Should I just use the statistics that Morezi has as her level whatever she is now?
Yes, I find that to be much easier than doing retrograde stats. Just go with what you got now.
Good, because I've got a base attack bonus of 5, which makes my attack a 17.
17 will hit. Roll for damage.
Yes. That is a 11.
And 11. And you did 11 points of damage to Bins. And I want, as you pull out your halberd and swing, everyone is slowly moving into a circle, including your brother, Nargash. They are all encircling y'all, not allowing either of you to leave. Y'all both attack almost at the same time, but you're just a little bit faster, and you slash across his chest with your halberd, and he screams and yells at you, and he actually gets an 18, which I believe will defeat your armor, does it not?
Well, the tie goes to the runner, so yes.
Yes, I believe is 18 now. But he is actually using a short sword, a broad short sword. So he does a total of 6 points of damage to you.
All right.
Please record that in your flashback damage. And it is your turn. You are facing off with this giant orc that is taller than you and broader than you. What are you going to do?
I'm gonna attack again. This is how Morezi do. I rolled a 16.
That will hit.
All right.
He's wearing leather armor.
Is a 1 on a D10 just a 1? No, that's the 0
Yes.
that's 10. So that would
Exactly.
be 4 damage.
4 damage. So you've done a total of 15 points of damage to him, and he staggers back slightly as you make a quick jab into him, and he counters with a natural 20.
Ugh. What a nasty boy.
And he rolled a 5, which is a lot. So he did, that's actually
10 damage?
+1, so that's 6. So it's actually 12 damage that he's done to you. So he comes around and just jams that short sword into your midsection. It is not, you can tell it's not a mortal wound, but it is a good hit.
I think I spit up a little bit of blood. Cinematically, in his direction, like a beaten down badass.
This is the moment you spit out and your blood comes out red.
Yes.
And he looks at you and goes, half-blood. And he is clearly indicating your red blood, meaning that you are less. And it is your turn.
Because orcs have green blood. I'm
do
going
indeed.
to pull myself up, roll to attack. That went off the table. 12.
12 will not do it. You are still recovering from your hit. And he rolled another natural 20. And that is total of 10 more points of damage. Where does that put you on your hit points?
28.
28
out of
left,
56.
Okay? Out of 56, and it is your turn. So he is just wailing on you.
Doodly doodly doo. Can I die? Can I die from a wound I get before the story starts? Let's find out. That is a 23.
23 hits.
Hopefully. Or else the game is bad. I do 4 points of damage.
4 points of damage, and he is looking pretty rough. He says to you, "What's the matter, little half-blood? Don't you feel your blood singing? Don't you feel angry?" And you see him just, and you see his rage build as he goes into a berserker rage.
Oh, dang it! Oh, I was gonna do that.
And he rolls a natural 1. A natural 1. After those 2 20s, it comes back to bite you, so that means I gotta roll my thing. Nope, he just misses. But he has gone into a berserker rage. What are you going to do?
I also am going to go into a rage.
And for the listener, describe what it looks like when you go into a berserker rage.
Morezi's skin gets paler. Her eyes are usually brown, and they get the pupils slit up like a monster instead of a more human-looking creature. She starts to hunch over in a heaving mass, and she shakes a little, but in a good, scary-looking way. Is going to roll to attack with her halberd very angrily. That is a 22.
22 will hit, and remember that you also have a bonus to your damage. I believe it's a +2 bonus to your damage.
Good.
When you are in a berserker rage.
Doodly 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 dee. That is 10 points of damage, and I yell, "I do hear the blood, and it is thicker than yours."
And you bring your halberd down. Describe to me how you dispatch Bins.
Look, Morezi is not a bad person, but she really hates this guy, and she just takes a mortal fell sweep from the muscle at the top of his shoulder down to the bottom of his rib, and she hits bone.
And you see it you actually feel the scrape as the halberd scrapes against his ribs, and he collapses to the ground in the heap. He is technically dying, but his compatriots immediately come to him and begin administering first aid to keep him from dying. This is not an infrequent occurrence among orcs, shall we say. And your brother, Nargash, comes and puts his arm on your shoulder, not in a sympathetic way, but in a triumphant way. And he turns to the others and he says, "You face my sister with honor. If you wish to fight her, do so with honor." The orcs are not nice. Orcs are not friendly people, but they do have a sense of honor in combat. And because you were perceived as less, it was not perceived as bad for them to gang up on you and beat you up. And this is the moment forward when the rest of the clan, if anyone wished to challenge you, they did so one-on-one because of your brother. And we cut back to the cemetery of Frackgrill. And Fracklill Cemetery, the mist is rolling in, and Kiris turns to you and he says, my Uncle Archie was kind of my only family, and he got me the job working at the Bainwright Manor. He wasn't exactly a Bainwright, if you understand, but he kind of had dealings with them. Now he's dead. Well, gee, thanks. I sure appreciate that. He told me that he kept a secret that could help in his leg, because he had a fake leg, because he used to be out on the seas and did some stuff in the Sand Swallow Seas. He didn't really talk about too much, but he had a fake leg, and I think they buried him with it, and I think it might have some clues for what's going on in Bainwright Manor right now. And you make your way to a very plain gravestone. It's really just more of a rock that's been hastily carved, and it says Archie Grimwald, and it has no other information on it.
Ooh, fun.
You wonder if Curious didn't even carve it himself. You can see that a lot of the ones here are very intricate, very elaborate, but it varies greatly depending on how much money the people have, and you don't know how much money Curious has, but you don't think a lot. And he turns to you and he says, "Could you help me dig up my uncle?"
I will treat his corpse honorably, small child.
I
Okay,
don't think I have to roll to dig a Rooney.
You do not, but you pull out the shovel, which up until now you have never actually used, by the way,
Yeah.
and you sink it into the ground, and imagine how it would feel if you took a shovel and dug into the air. Okay? That is what it feels like, and the ground just boom, moves out of the way, almost like a telekinetic blast moved it out of the way. This shovel is clearly magical, and with the same ease that you would move almost through the air, you are able to dig through the ground with this shovel.
Ooh, shovel of extreme digging.
It is actually called a shovel of digging. And Curious's eyes get wide as he watches. As you can imagine, you almost look like a cartoon character. And you just go boom, boom, boom. And in just a very few swings, then you feel this tink as you hit a wood. Your metal of your shovel hits wood, and it does not dig through the wood the way it does through dirt, and it stops. But even one more swing, and it just whoom, clears out all of the dirt around the very, very simple brown casket.
I very, very eloquently, more so than you would think a barbarian would, open up the casket, probably revealing a dead dude.
Okay, it opens with a creak, and inside you indeed see a dead body of a middle-aged human male. He is starting to look the way corpses do after about a week or so. He's not looking so great. He doesn't look awful yet, but he looks very, very dead. And you see two large copper pieces placed over his eyes, as is traditional in some religions of this world.
I do not take them.
And that is extremely wise that you do not take them. You do, as he pointed out, it is, by the way, quite dark here, and you see that Curious is kind of struggling a little bit to see. No, I'm sorry. You see that Curious is looking around, but you have no trouble seeing because you do have
Night vision.
dark vision. Night vision, yes. And you are able,
dark vision.
while you cannot see clear colors, you can see quite clearly in moonlight. And you see that his leg is not just a simple peg leg. It is a very crude prosthetic of a false leg.
I'm trying to do this as delicately as possible with my giant meaty paws. I looked at Curious.
Do I just take off his leg?
I guess so. There was kind of like a strap holding it on.
Perfect.
I undo the strap, slow going, and I lift the leg out of the grave, trying not to disturb the rest of the body.
And there's a slight like shroom as it comes off the leg. It's not the best sound, but it comes loose, and that you get kind of a whoom of putrescence as the body gets disturbed a little bit, as it fills your nostrils because you're standing right over the body.
And I'm pretty sure orcs have better senses than humans.
I would say that their sense of smell is better, and it's not great. Certainly, you've been over more than a few battlefields, but still,
This is an old
just
body.
not great. Yeah, this is old and gross.
It's the right amount of old to be gross.
There was no doubt that while you had some dealings with necromancers in your guild, in your clan, that you met one not too long ago, Mr. Clicks, but you didn't really like having dealings with them. Mm-hmm. And are you going to step out of the grave, or
I'm going to take the leg out of the grave.
Okay,
And
so he sees this leg boom, come to the top, and of course you're extremely tall. Your top of your head is sticking out, and you hoist yourself up, and revealing the leg.
Should I make maybe a check to inspect, or do I see anything obvious on it?
No, go ahead and give me a roll and add any intelligence bonus that you have.
Ah, yes, my 0 bonus. That's a 7.
7. It looks like a leg. Kind of take it and kind of rattle it a little bit. You can tell there's something inside of it.
Kyrus,
And
there is something in this leg. Can you get it open?
oh gosh, he never showed me how to do it. He kind of takes it and he kind of fumbles with it. You notice, by the way, he is a human, but you notice he doesn't seem to have any trouble seeing in the dark. So just note that, because you know how blind humans are at night.
Pathetic, weak human beings.
Yes, and your clan has actually taken advantage of that at times when doing raids and making sure to blind the humans with darkness so that you can raid and take them down effectively.
Yes.
And he's fumbling with the leg, and there's like a click, and the leg part, the foot part slides off and pops out, leaving the leg, and he kind of shakes a little bit, and 2 things come out. One of them is a silver key, very ornate, fairly large, and the other one is a potion of some kind. And he holds it up to the moonlight, and you can see the potion is just gently kind of bloop, bloop, bloop. It's bubbling, almost like it's boiling, almost like the potion is boiling constantly. But it doesn't actually seem to be super hot or anything. And Kyrus goes, "Well, that wasn't as helpful as I was hoping."
What, you wished for a map? You wished for a talking map that tells you where to go?
Yes, I heard tales when I was a child where this map would sing about itself, about it being a map, and then it would give assistance to a ranger of a sort.
That's just child's tales.
Oh.
Or maybe children's
Well.
boots, I don't know.
Oh, perhaps. Nevertheless, I haven't told you what's going on. And he stops because you both feel your breath get cold, and you actually see your breath in front of you. Make a perception check.
Let's see. Where does it say your perception modifier? Is that a skill?
It might not be listed on there. If not, then it's just
I think it's
your
int. Or whiz.
Yes.
Both of them are 0. Oh, that's an 8, so a little bit better. I know what's going on, but Morezi
Yes.
doesn't.
So you see his eyes get wide, and for just a second, his eyes actually glow.
Oh, that's
like
fun.
A gold, like a golden glow.
That's fun.
And he reaches forward and he pushes you. He just pushes you, and you tip back over the grave. Would you do a dexterity roll for me?
Yes, I will, because that actually has a modifier. That's a 22.
22.
Wait, 21,
So let me.
but still.
So you can decide what you would like to do. Would you like to jump down into the hole? Would you like to just skip over the hole and stay up? What would you like to do?
Morezi skips over the hole. There's no way she's going to
Okay.
let her, 215 pounds of bulk fall on that dead body.
Yeah, you probably don't want that. And so you kind of do a little half turn. It's actually kind of cool. And you land, and you see something. He has just stopped you from being hit from behind from a skeleton. Now,
Oh, okay.
You've encountered skeletons already on the Island of the Dead, and certainly skeletons are not the most unknown thing in this world. They are, in fact, perhaps one of the most basic creatures of the undead you encounter, along with zombies. However, this one is different, because this one's has pulsing, just beating random organs in its chest.
Oh, ew. I think
And
Morezi
if that
says that
weren't
out loud.
Ugh!
Sure. And if that weren't enough, out of its mouth is a just many foot long lashing tongue. And the the tongue is actually scintillating throughout the air. Whoo, 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 and it's like wrapping around its own body, and it's just like it's almost like a serpent, like it's alive on its own volition. And the creature just
Okay, that's actually, I'm gonna be honest, that was better than what I was imagining, because I thought we were about to deal with a ghost, because you said it got cold.
Yes, well, there was some kind of supernatural presence that caused that, and it was apparently this thing. Would you like to make a knowledge check to see if you happen to know what this thing is?
Sure. That's intelligence.
I warn you. Yes, you will have to roll very high, just so you know.
14. Not that high.
Yes.
I know it's not a normal skeleton.
It is definitely not a normal skeleton. It is very dangerous. Very dangerous.
I could tell.
But, you don't need me to tell you that. And I'm going to need you to roll for initiative.
Yeah. Oh, it's 2. So that's a 4. That's a whole 4.
Okay, so you will be going last. And the... but Kiris actually goes first. And as you may remember... Excuse me. As you may remember from your last adventure, he actually had a longsword. And he grabs the longsword and pulls it forth, and you actually see the longsword glows slightly, which you think you caught a glimpse of that during your battle with the strange elven fellow.
So maybe that's like a holy glow, and maybe like he can kill that bad guy better, hopefully.
Well, he certainly gets him this time, because he rolled an 18, and he actually does 8 points of damage, so that's not a bad start. He swings forward and just slashes, and you see some of those organs kind of rupture, and black bile comes out, and the creature is... And it's the creature's turn, and he whips around with its tongue and tries to lash Kiris with it. And he actually only gets a 12, which even with his considerable bonus will not hit. And you see the tongue just whoosh, whoosh, slash near his head. And that will bring it to you.
Gucci, I'm gonna try to kill that horrible nasty thing with my halberd. I'm gonna try to use the halberd from like a distance, not like throw it, but I'm gonna try to keep as good a distance from this nasty as I can. Just saying.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay. Well,
that is a 22.
22. And you actually feel when you attack, you feel that armband that you've had before.
Oh yeah.
Just slightly tighten around your arm.
I don't like that.
And well, it
might be good.
It's a strange feeling, but you feel like there was something about this creature that was maybe protecting it, and you feel like maybe it's not protecting it anymore.
Okay, actually, then it's like a hug, not like a. It's not like one of those things that tests your blood pressure. It's like a hug. I'm gonna say it's like a hug. I'm gonna roll for damage now. That's a 4. Not great.
4. Yeah, so not fantastic, but still a hit as you're trying to keep your distance against this strange, horrifying
I'm
creature.
kind of like holding the very end of the halberd, like, so it's not a great hit.
And Kiris, who, by the way, is still dressed in his pseudo-ninja garb, except that he's removed his his ninja mask was basically just him with a black kerchief over his face. It was not good. He had removed the black kerchief, but he's still in like makeshift. But you noticed underneath the black cloth that he still had most of his armor from when he was a perfunctory guard.
Nice.
And so he is armored. And he leaps forward again, and he hits. And he does 13 points of damage to this creature. Okay? Screams, "Vile thing, you will die!" And he stabs at it. You actually hear on that last note, he goes, "Vile thing!" And on that die, like something in his voice kind of resonates. Like there's like a hum, and he goes, "You will die!"
Ooh,
and then
fun.
There's a flash of energy. And it's not a whole lot, but he actually does another 3 points of damage as you see light infuse into the creature, and it kind of burns and sizzles.
Oh, that's lovely.
And the creature hisses and sparks. And he attacks Cyrus again. Ooh, and he hits with his lashing tongue. It's gross. And he does 5 points of damage to Cyrus. And Cyrus needs to make a saving throw. Ooh, he rolls an 18, which is quite good. You see for a moment, Cyrus, his whole body starts to kind of like lock up. But then he just like literally does like a wrestling move where he bares his chest and shrugs it off.
Heck yeah.
And
my weird little son.
That will actually bring it to you.
I'm gonna try to kill that nasty boy. Let's see here. That's a 7.
Yes, unfortunately, a 7 will not hit. It was reeling backwards, and you are still technically on the other side of the grave. And you could use your halberd to do that, but it puts you at a slight disadvantage, and so you can't quite reach it. And that brings it to Cyrus, and you see him focus, and his sword begins to glow even more brightly, and he just holds it over his head. And he doesn't even seem to be quite aware of what he's doing. And a beam of radiant energy just boom, goes out. And by the way, for a second, it is like daylight in the cemetery.
He's
and
got some magic
nearby,
powers.
The nearby fog just evaporates. And this weird skeleton is going to make a save. And he does actually save, so he takes half damage. So that is... Ooh, he did not. So he only takes 3 damage, unfortunately. So that's not great. But he doesn't like that very much, and his weird, horrifying organs kind of sizzle in this bright light. And he lashes again. Actually, this time he's going to try to slam into him. And he actually gets to attack twice. Ooh, he rolled a natural 1 on one of those attacks. 91. So he actually is going to lose a turn. That's my own little internal rule. My own little internal rule, if you roll a 90 to a 95, you actually lose a turn. By the way, 95 to 99 is very, very bad.
And if you roll a 100, you get disemboweled and cut in half by a shark.
Yes, despite whatever's going on, the shark comes out of nowhere and cuts you in half.
Yep.
That's just the rule now. But so he actually loses his turn. So as he's trying to slam into Cyrus nimbly jumps out of the way. There's a horrifying second where it looks like this creature is going to hit you. And then he falls into the grave. He goes, and he falls down into the grave and loses his next turn, which would have been right now. So it is actually your turn. He is down in the grave.
I want to try to jump in there and, bring my halberd over my... Okay, Marezi inside is internally going oh, I'm so sorry, dead guy. But she's going to leap up and try to bring the halberd down over her head into the goop of the monster. Let's see. That went off the table.
And I'm actually going to give you a +2 because you have advantage coming from height like that.
Okay, I'm reaching down from off the table. That is with a +2, that's in 20. So with plus my attack bonus, it's a 25.
Gotcha. Now that wasn't a natural 20.
No. The +2 made it was a natural 18.
Okay, and I'll also give you +2 to damage because you're the force of you coming down from him from leaving.
That's what gets being creative, babies. Let's see.
That is correct.
7, 12.
12 points of damage. So I want you to describe to me what it looks like when you destroy this horrifying abomination.
Oh, man. I just leap up, halberd clenched tightly in both hands, one leg kicking up in a beautiful moment. You see from inside the grave like moonlight hitting from right behind her, and I just bring it down and cut entirely through the skeleton right into the middle of its disgusting, nasty organs. A huge spray of black oozing ichor probably hits me, And I think that also I kind of get some of the meat of Uncle Archie in this.
Goes right through him into Uncle Archie.
Oh no.
And you hear Kyrus go like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
but you, and this thing just howls, and that horrifying tongue is lashing all around you, and you're kind of like, ugh. And then it tries to come at you like, ah! But as it does, it actually is pulling the halberd through itself, and that does the last little bits of damage, and its undead existence just disintegrates, and it begins to crumble into dust.
Ooh. That's delightful.
Kyrus appears over the grave that you're now standing in with the ashes of this horrifying creature and the slightly impaled body of Uncle Archie, and he goes, do you need a hand? And he lowers his hand to help you out.
Thank you, small creature.
I feel like I don't know much about Kyrus. I've always imagined him being very lanky. I feel like he maybe bit off a little bit more than he could chew, helping a 200-pound or half orc out of a grave, but she's mostly doing it on her own. And she says,
Yes.
I am very sorry about your uncle. I never meant to defile his body, but I feel like much worse could have occurred if I did not destroy the creature.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, you did great. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't been here. I don't know if we really should have been able to take that thing. It was, that's a really bad dude.
What was it?
I studied a lot about the undead, because, I don't know, like, I always wanted to defeat, like, evil.
Sounds about right.
And, that thing was called a morgue. And a morgue, if I understand correctly, is from, like, a serial killer or, like, a mass murderer. Like, sometimes just they've murdered so much that they just keep on murdering when they die.
That's horrible.
Yes, and they're supposed to be, like, super hard to kill, and when they kill something, they make them zombies. So, like, I think we may have just stopped a zombie plague.
Well, Kyrus, you have defeated one evil. You should feel proud of yourself.
Oh, gee, thanks. And he kind of, a little bit, because he's taken just a little bit of damage from the creature, but it's only 5 points of damage. And he's okay. And he
I
goes,
take 5 points of damage when I take a run in the morning. He needs to man up.
Yeah, so he's still getting used to this adventuring thing, you think. And he says, I don't know exactly how to take care of all this, but I think maybe we could take the things that Uncle Archie had, and maybe we could stop whatever's happening at Bainwright Manor. Would you be willing to come with me?
I am willing. Let's do this, small creature.
All right. Let's get to it. And that ends Chafing Armor number 51. Thank you for playing, Izzy.
Yes.
You have solved my graveyard riddle, which was to stab it until it dies.
I'm stabbing the graveyard.
That's right. You just stabbed the graveyard until it was dead. But we will continue on 52 with your solo adventure, and until then, you have a wonderful evening.
I will. I'll be probably recording more, since we record it 2 at a time.
Don't reveal our secrets. Oh, wait, no, it's well known. And we will roll with you soon.